Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I want to talk to you today about the discovering the success mechanism within you. In Dr. Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, he said it's pretty strange but true that until about the 1960s, scientists had no idea of just how the human brain and nervous system worked purposely or to achieve a goal. I guess that maybe that explains why most of us were programmed to just survive, to to get along in society, to work hard, and to not really have magnificent goals. But we have a magnificent operating system. It's like an inner GPS system. Animals are programmed for instinct, for survival, just to live. But your goal and my goal is more than just to live, just to survive. Animals, their goal is to find food and shelter, to avoid enemies and hazards, and procreation for the survival of the species. But you have a beautiful imagination. You've been gifted with a, a beautiful spiritual expansion. You want emotional satisfaction. You want spiritual satisfaction. Your success mechanism is so much broader in scope than in animals. In addition to helping us avoid danger, as well as the instincts that we have for procreation and to stay alive, we have been gifted to get answers to our problems, to invent things, to write poetry, to run a business, to sell merchandise, to explore new horizons in science, to attain more peace of mind, develop a better personality, or achieve success in any other activity that is intimately tied to your living, making for a fuller life. What would you love if you knew that you could program your success mechanism to get what you really want? How would you be living with purpose? How would you be leading your life? What would you be doing that fulfilled your days? Not just survive, but really thriving. You can select a goal. You're not limited to your instinct of survival. And because this really wasn't known in our grandparents' days, you don't have to just get along in society. You don't have to do what other people have told you to do. Go to school, get a job, earn a paycheck, raise a family, and hope to have enough money to retire. And then maybe you can enjoy life after your work is over. You're not made for working, you're made for living. Work is fulfilling. That's why we work, not just to earn a paycheck. But when you do what you love, when you provide service, when you take care of others, you feel more fulfilled. You have a creative imagination. Now, sometimes we think your creative imagination just applies only to artists and poets and inventors, but your imagination is creative in everything that we do. Imagination rules the world, said Napoleon Bonaparte. And your imagination is one of your beautiful God-given gifts. There was a famous Scottish philosopher, Dugald Stewart, who said the faculty of imagination is the great spring of human activity and the principal source of human improvement. With your creative imagination, you can imagine your future. Now, so many times, because we have a survival instinct, we've been taught just to survive. We've been taught to watch out for threats, watch out for danger. Don't touch the hot stove. Look both ways before you cross the street. Fear the unknown because something bad might happen. Well, what if the unknown could be a beautiful canvas where you could paint the picture of what you truly desire? Your brain and your nervous system make up a servo mechanism that you use, and it operates like a computer and a mechanical goal-seeking device. Your brain and nervous system constitute a goal-striving mechanism that operates automatically to achieve a certain goal. Maxwell Maltz compares your goal-striving mechanism to a self-aiming torpedo or a missile seeking out its target, and it steers its way to the goal. Your built-in servo mechanisms function both as a guidance system to automatically steer you in the right direction to achieve certain goals, or they make correct responses in your environment, and it works as an electronic brain which can function automatically to solve problems, to give you the answers you need, and to provide new ideas or inspirations. The word cybernetics comes from a Greek word meaning literally the steersman. Servo mechanisms are so constructed that they automatically steer their way to a goal, to a target, to an answer. So when we conceive of the human brain and nervous system as a form of servo mechanism, operating in accordance with cybernetic principles, we can start to gain new insight into why we have certain behaviors. Maxwell Maltz wrote a whole book on psychocybernetics, and these are the principles of cybernetics as applied to the human brain. So he says, man has a machine. He's not a machine, but he does some comparisons. He said, there are two types of servo mechanisms. Number one, where the target, the goal, or the answer is known, and the objective is to reach it or to accomplish it. So that's like the GPS in your vehicle. You program the destination, and your vehicle knows you follow the directions in the GPS system so that you drive your vehicle to the desired destination. And then there's also the second type where the target or answer is not known and the objective is to discover it or to locate it. Your human brain and nervous system operate in both ways. So think about something that you really want. You set a target goal. You're going to go back to school and get a degree so that you can have a better job and work in a certain field that you love. You know the outcome. If you pass all the classes, if you get the degree, if everything falls into place, then you can have that goal. The objective is to reach the certain goal. If you plan a trip, you know where you're going. You don't decide to go to Florida and then book a flight to Hawaii. They're two different directions. You set the destination and then you make plans for that certain place that you want to be. You must have some sort of propulsion system that propels you forward in the general direction of the target. Just like some machines, they must be equipped with radar, sonar, heat receptors, which bring information from the target. And these sense organs keep the machine informed when it is on the correct course. It gives positive feedback. When it commits an error and gets off course, there's negative feedback. The machine does not react or respond to positive feedback. It just is doing the correct thing and it keeps doing what it's doing. So with the vehicle, you're driving along and there's an accident or a detour. It tells you to go around. It tells you to stop. It tells you to take a different route. There must be a corrective device that will respond to negative feedback. When the negative feedback informs the mechanism that it is off track, too far to the right, the corrective mechanism automatically causes the rudder to move so that it steers the machine back to the left. If it overcorrects and heads too far to the left, the mistake is made known through negative feedback, and the corrective device moves the rudder so it steers the machine back to the right. So the torpedo or the airplane accomplishes its goal by going forward, making errors, and continually correcting them. And it zigzags its way to the goal. There's something in your human nervous system whenever you perform any purposeful activity, even simply picking up your pen from a desk, you accomplish the goal of picking up the pen because of an automatic mechanism and not by will and not by conscious forebrain thinking alone. All that your forebrain does is to select the goal, trigger it into action by desire, and feed information to the automatic mechanism so your hand continually corrects its course. Only a specialist would know all the muscles involved in you just simply picking up the pen. And if you knew, you would not consciously say to yourself, I must contract my shoulder muscles to elevate my arm. Now I must contract my triceps to extend my arm. You don't think about that. You just go ahead and pick up the pen. You're not conscious of issuing orders to individual muscles or computing just how much contraction is needed. When you set the goal and trigger it into action, an automatic mechanism takes over. First, you've picked up the pen or you've performed similar movements in the past. your automatic mechanism has learned something of the correct response needed. Just like walking, when you were a baby, you didn't automatically know how to walk. You learned to walk. But now you don't think about every action. You want to get up and drive yourself to work. You just stand up and move in the direction. You start your vehicle and you drive. You don't even think about that. Your subconscious mind has been programmed. You just walk. You just drive. Sometimes you're not even paying attention. Your automatic mechanism uses feedback data furnished by the brain to your eyes, which tells it the degree to which the pen is not picked up. This feedback enables the automatic mechanism to continually correct the motion of the hand until it is steered to the pen. Think about a baby reaching for a rattle. That baby doesn't have very much information stored to draw upon. Its hand zigzags back and forth and it gropes obviously as it reaches. This is a characteristic of all learning, and as learning takes place, correction becomes more and more refined. Like when you're learning how to drive a car and you overcorrect and steer back and forth across the street. Once a correct or a successful response has been accomplished, it is remembered for future use. The automatic mechanism then duplicates this successful response on future trials. It has learned how to respond successfully. It forgets its failures and repeats the successful action without any conscious thought. It becomes a habit. So in your world, in your life, many of the things that you do have become a habit, including your responses. If someone speaks unkindly to you, that automatically triggers defensiveness or anger. If you learn to be afraid of the unknown, to worry about criticism, to think about the past where someone hurt your feelings, you have a learned response and you're reliving an incident from your childhood, and maybe you consciously forgot it. But when certain areas of your brain are touched, you don't just remember the past experience, you relive them. You experience as very real all of the sights, sounds, and sensations of the original experience. It's just as if the past experience has been recorded on a tape player or a record player, and it's played back. Isn't it interesting how you can automatically think, I can't do that because, and you worry about past experiences, you relive past worries, doubts, fears, anxieties, and that stops you from going after a beautiful dream that you want. But what if we realize that stored information is limiting us? It's just looking back at past experiences and learned facts and comparing what we know. What if we decided to use our beautiful mind to target the goal that we do want and know that we can reach that destination by remembering all the times that you were successful. When you're searching for an idea to an answer or to a problem, you know that it's there, and your brain scans back and forth like when you forgot a person's name, and it goes back over stored memories until the desired name is recognized or discovered. When you decide what is it that you really want, you get a target. You have a goal in mind, an end to be achieved, an answer that will be recognized when you achieve it. Then your brain can scan back and forth through stored information and try and grope its way to an answer, but it will tie things together into a meaningful whole that will fill out the picture for you. It will solve your problem. And usually that happens when you're relaxed, in an unguarded moment, when your conscious mind is not totally focused on problems, when you're in a dreamy state, when your consciousness is asleep and something clicks. This is the answer that you've been searching for. Your built-in success mechanism must have a goal. It must have a target. And that target or goal must be conceived of as already in existence, either actual or potential form. It operates by either steering you to a goal that's already in existence, like booking that trip to Hawaii. You know it's there, even though you can't see it, or discovering something. We don't force it to work, we program it and let it work. The automatic mechanism is teleological. It operates or must be oriented to end results. Don't be discouraged if the means whereby the way isn't apparent right now. It is the function of the automatic mechanism to supply the means whereby after you supply the goal. When you think about the goal, the destination, and write it down. Take a little goal card and write down, what is it that you desire? You can test it with small things like a parking lot in front of the doctor's office, a parking spot in front of the mall where you're going shopping. But you can also program it for the purposeful work that you want to do. How are you serving people? How much money is flowing into your bank account? What are you using that money for? The end goal is not a big bag of money. It's how do you want to be living your life? You have the time freedom, you have the money freedom, you have the love of family and intimate relationships. What are you doing with your time and money freedom? Set a goal, set a destination, decide how you want to be living, and then think in terms of the end result. And the means whereby will often take care of themselves. Maxwell Maltz says the means by which your success mechanism works often take care of themselves and do so effortlessly when you supply the goal to your brain. First, you supply the goal, and then the way is shown. The precise action steps will come to you without stress, without tension or worry about how you're going to accomplish the result that you seek. Many people make the mistake of interfering with their success mechanism by demanding how it could happen before the goal is clearly established. It's after you formed a mental image of the goal that you seek to create, the how will come to you, not before. You're not going to rely on past experiences and current situations to figure out how your beautiful goal will manifest. First, you set the target. Remain calm and relaxed, and the answers will arrive. Any attempt to force the idea to come will not work. As Brian Tracy wrote, in all mental workings, effort defeats itself. Every human being has literally been engineered for success by his creator. Every human being has access to a power greater than himself. This means you. If you were engineered for success and happiness, then the old picture of yourself as unworthy of happiness, a person who is meant to fail, that must be in error. Accept your true potential. Don't be afraid of making mistakes or of temporary failures. All servo mechanisms achieve a goal by negative feedback or by going forward, making mistakes, and immediately correcting course. Forget your past errors and remember where you're going. Remember the successful responses in your success mechanism. Don't jam it by being too concerned or anxious as to whether it will work. You must let it work. Let your creative mechanism work for you. Trust the process. Set your goal. Go on with your day. Create a wonderful day and watch how your life unfolds. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.